Hello everyone, I am Karen Grace L. Dagoy, a BS Ed English student, and today I'd like to share with you the tale of Cephalus and Procris, a married couple whose love story turns a tragic turn. So this story revolves around Cephalus, the son of the god Hermes, and an Athenian princess and his wife, Procris. So Cephalus was a young man who loved hunting and would wake up early every morning to go on his hunting trips. One day, as the sun rose, the goddess Aurora became infatuated with Cephalus. However, Cephalus was already happily married to Procris, who was favored by the goddess Diana. Procris had been given a fast dog and a sharp javelin by Diana. Feeling rejected by Cephalus, Aurora left with some parting words. Undeterred, Cephalus continued his hunting journey. On that day, a furious fox sent by an angry god caused trouble in the land. Many hunters and their dogs tried to catch it but failed. Then asked Cephalus if they could borrow his dog, Lilaps. Lilaps was incredibly fast, almost as he could fly. However, no matter how fast Lilaps was, the fox always stayed just out of reach. As Cephalus was about to throw his javelin, the gods decided that neither the dog nor the fox should win. Both Lilaps and the fox were turned to stone, frozen in the middle of their battle. Undeterred by the loss of his loyal dog, Cephalus continued hunting. When the noon heat became unbearable, he would rest by a cool stream, taking off his clothes and lying on the grass. He would call out to the breeze, hoping for some relief from the heat, and often say, "Come, sweet breeze, come and fan my breeze. Come and lay the heat that burns me." One day, a curious villager overheard Cephalus and misunderstood his words. The villager, thinking the worst, told Procris what they had heard. Procris fainted upon hearing the news, but soon woke up determined to find out the truth. The next day, Cephalus followed his usual routine by the stream, calling out to the breeze once again, saying, "Come, sweet breeze, come and fan me. You know how I love you. You make the grooves and my solitary rumbles delightful." On his way home, he heard rustling in the bushes, and thinking it was an animal, threw his javelin. To his shock, he realized that he had accidentally hit his wife, Procris. He desperately tried to remove the javelin, which happened to be the gift she had given him. Holding her in his arms, Cephalus pleaded for her to survive. Procris managed to open her eyes weakly and said, So in that moment, they both understood what had happened, but understanding did little to ease the pain. Procris passed away wearing a calm expression of pity and forgiveness towards Cephalus. And that would be the ending of Cephalus and Procris, a story of two newly married couple that unfortunately end up their story into tragedy. This is another story under week 13 entitled Juno and Her Rivals. So in the story, the hero was Roman goddess named Juno, and even though she had done anything heroic that was told from her perspective, she didn't necessarily save the day, but she went on an adventure and she left her ordinary world and went on a journey to Earth. Jupiter. The shadow or villain in the story was Jupiter. He was the husband of Juno and he was cheating on his wife with Io, the heifer. After Io was captured, he was bothered that she was constantly suffering, so he sent Mercury to slay Argus, the 100-eyed monster, and rescue Io. The hero Io. Io was a heifer and she was having an affair with Jupiter, the husband of Juno. Juno became really suspicious and delivered Io off to Argus to be watched closely. Argus. In the story, Argus was the loyal retainer. He was the 100-eyed monster that assisted the hero Juno. He worked for Juno, imprisoned and suffered Io. Callisto. Callisto, also a mistress of Jupiter and a rival of Juno in the story. Juno one day perceived it suddenly grow dark and immediately suspected that her husband had raised a cloud to hide some of his doings that would not bear the light. So she brushed away the cloud and saw her husband on the banks of a glassy river with a beautiful heifer standing near him. Juno suspected the heifer's form concealed some fair nymph of mortal molds. Was indeed the case, for it was Io, the daughter of the river god Ignatius, whom Jupiter had been flirting with, and when he became aware of the approach of his wife, he had changed into that form. Juno joined her husband in noticing the heifer praised its beauty and asked who it was and of what herd. Jupiter, to questions, replied that it was a fresh creation from the earth, so Juno asked to have it as a gift. The goddess was not yet relieved of her suspicions, so she delivered the heifer to Argus to be strictly watched. Argus had 100 eyes in his head and never went to sleep with more than 2 at a time, so that he kept watch of Io constantly. He suffered her to feed through the day and at night, tied her up with a vile rope round her neck. Jupiter was troubled at beholding the sufferings of his mistress, and calling Mercury, told him to go and dispatch Argus. Mercury was the son of Juno. He presented himself as a shepherd during his flock. As he strolled on, he blew upon his pipes. These were what are called the Syrinx and Pendion. Argus was glad for the company and listens to soft music. After some time, Mercury told a story, a very long and monotonous tale that went on and on. Before Mercury finished the story, he saw Argus' eyes all asleep, as his head nude forward on his breast. To honor Argus as a loyal servant, Juno put his eyes as ornaments on the tail of her peacock. And for the last, Juno's heart softened. She said to Jupiter, "Promise me you will never look at Io again." Jupiter agreed with that and changed Io into a beautiful young girl. Callisto also was caught with Jupiter by Juno. This time, she decided to make her a bear. One day, her son was hunting and found her, and the second before he was about to kill her, Juno stopped him and took them both. She made them into stars known as the Great and Little Bear. And so, that's the ending of the story of Juno and her rivals. Thank you so much, everyone.